It's amazing to me that people still haven't figured out how the system works, or at least the vast majority of the people. They're still falling for everything that government puts forward. And governments around the world, pretty much, for millennia, have been using the same type tactics, the same type techniques to get people to do what you want them to do. And to get people to support things that they want them to support. And to get people to think that they're somehow in control. Same playbook over and over and over again. And people still just don't get it. They still haven't figured it out, what's actually going on and how things actually work. Take, for example, back during the COVID pandemic. The COVID pandemic. You know, when the hospitals were full and running over with patients, everyone dying everywhere, the crematoriums were running full blast with all the dead bodies because the pandemic was so serious. Oh wait, that never really happened, did it? Hospitals was empty. They would have news broadcasts of people supposedly working in the hospitals, the nurses, the doctors. They were just working 20 hours a day, the sweat rolling and things, because it was so full, and they'd have people running around on the hospital on the news reports and all this stuff. And then the next day, someone would go there to the hospital and it was empty. Nothing's actually going on. That was reported a lot. I know here where I am, the hospital, because I was paying attention, I was looking. The hospital was empty. The doctor's offices were empty. Less people there than they were before the pandemic started. So I knew right then what was going on. And I made videos about that and got strikes and everything else on YouTube. The videos are still up on my Odyssey channel. But when the shot came out, you know, Donald Trump's Operation Warp Speed, get a vaccine out, experimental vaccine out in a few days and start giving it to everyone they could get that needle into. When that came out and they were offering, they started out first, and they do the same thing all the time with everything. They started out with fear, trying to get people to volunteer because they were afraid. Then they started out with the guilt trip. You know, we have to save the children, we have to save grandma, we have to take this, to get everyone they could that way to take it, to voluntarily take it. Then they came out with the carrot. Here's the carrot. We'll give you a free Big Mac. We'll give you this and that, something else if you go in and get this. We've got to do this for the community, got to do this, got to do that. And we're going to give you, you know, money. We're going to give you hamburgers, or to give you tickets to something or whatever. We saw this during that time. That was to get everyone else they could to come because of the bribes. Then, when the guilt trip wasn't working any longer, the bribes weren't working any longer, and you still had these other people here that hadn't came in and got this, out came the stick. And I made a video about that right up there in my carport, talking about the carrot and the stick. I said, first they'll bring the carrot, and right then is when they're bringing the carrot. I said, next is going to come the stick. And sure enough, about a month later, here came the stick. If you don't get this, you'll lose your job. You can't go into work. If you don't take this, you can't go to school. If you don't take this, you have to wear a mask. You have to show everyone that you didn't take it, because you got to wear that mask at work and things, if they even let you come at all. Trying to embarrass you because you didn't want to take that to save grandma, to save whoever, you know. So they tried to do everything like that. The carrot and the stick. And they do it every single time about everything. That and false flags to get wars started. You know, they'll start in the media trying to get everyone to see the other country as this grave threat, this other group, because they want to get a war started. The same thing every time. And then along comes the false flag, and then here we go to war. Or we have some police action in some foreign country because we have to fight them over there, but keep them fighting them over here. And we're seeing the same thing with this digital ID. Here and in other countries. Just like I saw in Australia, that they're going to make social media, they're going to ban social media for any kid under 16 years old. And people will cheer because that sounds great, because social media, especially for kids, isn't good. People know this. So they will use that to get the support, of the people, and to think it's about, helping the children. You got to save the children. The same playbook. Just like when they try to push gun control laws and things like that, we got to do it for the children. Got to do it for grandma. Got to do it for someone else. But what they're doing is they're doing this first, but then the adults will have to prove that they're not 16 years old, that they're above 16 years old. So they have to put in their IDs and have to get everything in the system so they can log in to the internet. When they do that, get everyone they can, then they'll come out with even more of a stick. They'll be striking even harder to get more people into that system. That's the goal that they want around the world. And you see all these Western countries going right for that now. Digital IDs, pushing all the AI, all the infrastructure, all the spying and things like that. United States doing the same thing with all the data centers. But we saw them come out, and they started a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. Just like with the Real ID that came out. This was supposed to happen a long time ago, the Real ID was. But they didn't really push it until Donald Trump took office. Then they pushed it because they knew if Donald Trump was pushing it, and at this time, that more people would volunteer for it and welcome it. So, more people did that voluntarily. Then, later on, they will come out and try to make it more mandatory. And then the Real ID will end up turning into biometric ID, having it logged onto the internet. And they will get as many people as they can voluntarily. They will offer benefits to all this. They'll make it sound great. You have to do this to save the children. Get everyone they can that way. And then when they get everyone they can that way, they will come out with a stick. You have to get this. It's mandatory for everyone else. They get everyone they can first by being nice, offering bribes, laying the guilt trips, all the psychological techniques they know how to do, over and over and over again. They've done it forever. But they come out, get everyone they can to sign up for whatever they're pushing, and then when they get everyone that they can, then they come out with the stick. And they make it mandatory. If you don't get this, we are going to take these rights away. You're going to be fined. You won't be able to travel. You won't be able to get on the internet. If you don't sign up with this digital currency, this universal basic income, after warning, they can control through all the AI. If you don't go with this, they'll get everyone they can first, voluntarily, and then they'll come out and make your life a living hell. Everyone else that didn't volunteer for it. They will come out and make it as difficult to live, as difficult to do everything as they possibly can to force everyone to get on their system. And then they'll come out with fines and penalties and things to force everyone, because they want everyone on these systems, but they take it by steps. They take it by steps until they get to where they want. They get everyone they can through the guilt, through the bribes, through the manipulation, everyone they can to volunteer. And then they'll use the ones that volunteered, that got it earlier. We've seen this during the COVID pandemic and the vaccine. They get everyone they can to volunteer, then they will pit these people that volunteered, that's already got this, that's already been guilt tripped into getting this, or digital ID or whatever. It just works the same way. They guilt trip these into doing it, bribe these into doing this. Then they turn these against the people who have it, people that refuse. So that puts more peer pressure from this group over here on this group over here, because this group over here wants to ostracize these other people over here. When it's like wearing the mask. I was going to Walmart and everywhere else during that time. Everyone else be having the mask on, They was all in a saving grandma, is on to doing this and that, doing what they're supposed to be doing, being a good citizen. And I'd go in without a mask on or anything, and people was giving me dirty looks. You know, like, look at that prick. No mask on at all. And he's like, you could see they want to say something so bad they could stand a lot of them did. They want to run that mouth, but they was afraid to run that mouth. But they wanted to, you could tell. You could tell the way they looked, the way they stared, and we talked to each other. So they use the same technique. Get everyone to volunteer, everyone to take the bribes to get what they want done, to accept whatever they are offering. And then they have these two groups. Then they will pit this group against the other group. And then they'll get everyone they can that way. Then, like I said, comes the stick. The fines, the mandates where you can't do this and that. You can't go certain places. You can't work. You can't bank. You can't get on the internet. Same playbook. Little steps, little steps, little steps. There was a song that came out a long time ago. David Allan Coe. This is a really dirty song, so don't go look this up if you don't want to hear really dirty stuff, because he does that, or did that in some of his music. And it was called The Three Biggest Lies. That's what this whole system reminds me of, is that song, The Three Biggest Lies. David Allan Coe, I think that's what it's called. That pretty much explains it. It is cold here, guys. It is cold. My throat's starting to hurt. I'm getting stopped up from the cold air here. My hands are, see how red they are? I will see it in the camera, they're red and cold right now. I'm holding this camera and stuff. But anyway, know how the system works. Know how they manipulate you, everyone, into accepting, even cheering what they have to offer. And it's the same in these other countries, like I was talking about Australia. Doing that with the social media. Come out with something that you think would be great. But you have to do something to make it happen for your children. You have to show your ID into the system. You have to have your digital ID to prove you're over 16 years old. YouTube tried to come out with something like this here a while back, too, where they was getting rid of channels that weren't, I forgot how that went, something like that. It's been a while back, but something where you was having to prove that their system flagged you as being underage. You had to prove that you were of age. They never tried to get me with that. Probably a lot of people, they probably did. So you have to go in, if the AI that Google uses, they use Gemini, it's called, actually. But they would go in, if the AI flagged you as being underage and you wasn't, you had to prove that you were actually over 18 or 16, something like that. And the way you do that, you had to fill out everything. You had to take a picture of your driver's license. So Google had all the information. They never tried to get me with that, but they probably did a lot of people. Anyways, that is cold. I can't hardly breathe, it's cold. My throat and the snot going down here, guys. Anyway, I'll get this video up, but it's important to know how they do these things, how they control, how they manipulate. That's some of the tactics that they use. That and false flags, fear, guilt, it's all mind control. The politicians come out and do it. You see it in the movies, you see it on television, you see it on the news, on the internet, you see all these bots and things posting comments and things. That's all to sway public opinion, to get the public to do things, support things that they normally wouldn't. It's all manipulation. Know how it works so you can spot it and don't fall for it. Anyways, if you liked the video, get a big thumbs up. My face is freezing out here, my nose is red. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.